The wind howled like a wounded beast across the canyon, carrying the scent of rain and gunpowder. The horizon was bruised with thunderclouds, heavy, dark, and restless. Abigail Monroe pulled her leather coat tighter and squinted into the storm. Her horse, Whiskey, snorted and pawed the muddy ground beneath them. Abigail was a rancher's widow, known across the frontier for her sharp aim and sharper will. She had faced drought, outlaws, and loneliness, but nothing could have prepared her for what she was about to see that day. A storm of fate that would test not her gun, but her heart. Through the veil of rain, she saw movement, something stumbling near the cliff's edge. A woman dressed in the fringed buckskin of the Comanche, her dark braids heavy with rain, her body swaying under the weight of pregnancy. 2 metal buckets slipped from her hands, clattering and rolling into the mud. She cried out, falling to her knees, the cry of both fear and exhaustion. Abigail's instincts took over. Her hand went to her rifle as she guided Whiskey forward. In Comanche territory, every shadow could mean danger. And then she heard it. Hoofbeats in the distance. Fast, heavy, relentless. A war party. Her heart quickened. "Damn it," she muttered. The riders appeared through the curtain of rain, dark shapes, armed and fierce, moving like ghosts through the storm. Abigail raised her rifle, every muscle tense, the rain dripping from the brim of her hat. But then something made her pause. The woman turned her face upward, her eyes wide, terrified, and pleading, locked with Abigail's. She wasn't an enemy. She was desperate. Her lips moved, and though Abigail couldn't understand the words, the meaning was clear. "Help me." Abigail's grip on the rifle trembled. Logic screamed right away. Survival was all that mattered in the Wild West, but her heart refused to leave a woman, any woman, to die like that. "Lord, help me," she whispered. Then she swung the rifle back over her shoulder and kicked Whiskey forward. "Come on, get up!" Abigail shouted as she rode close. Leaning from the saddle, rain slicing across her face. "Take my hand!" The Comanche woman hesitated, fear and confusion written all over her. But when she saw the riders closing in, she reached out. Abigail grasped her wrist and pulled hard, the horse straining against the weight. Mud splashed high, buckets flew, and with one desperate tug, Abigail yanked the woman up onto the horse's flank. Behind them, arrows whistled through the rain. One grazed Abigail's shoulder, tearing her sleeve and skin. She gritted her teeth, turned the reins sharply, and spurred Whiskey into a gallop. "Hold on!" she yelled. They raced along the ridge, rain blinding them, thunder shaking the earth. The war cries of the Comanche warriors echoed through the canyon. Fury, loss, confusion. Abigail didn't dare look back. The woman clung to her waist, crying softly, her body trembling with pain. After what felt like forever, Abigail found a narrow, rocky path and guided her horse down into a shallow ravine. They rode until the sounds of pursuit faded into the storm. Only then did she stop, heart pounding like gunfire in her chest. The woman slid off the horse, collapsing into the mud. Abigail quickly dismounted and knelt beside her. "Are you hurt?" she asked, breathless. The woman shook her head weakly, one hand on her swollen belly. "No hurt, baby. Come soon," she whispered in broken English. Abigail froze. "Oh, hell," she breathed. "You've got to be kidding me." But the look on the woman's face told her it was true. Labor had already begun. Abigail's mind raced. Alone in a storm, no shelter, no supplies, and a pregnant stranger, one belonging to the very people hunting her. Still, she couldn't walk away. She stripped off her coat and spread it on the ground, beneath the ledge for the woman to lie on. "All right," Abigail said, rolling up her sleeves. "We're doing this. You and me, sweetheart." The woman cried out again, gripping Abigail's arm with surprising strength. Abigail guided her through each breath, her voice steady, calm. Minutes dragged like hours. Thunder rolled across the canyon. But inside that tiny shelter, another sound began to rise, a cry of life. A baby's cry. Abigail let out a trembling laugh. "You did it? You actually did it." The woman, Nayeli, she whispered her name, held her newborn close, tears mixing with the rain. "My son," she murmured, smiling weakly. "He's strong." Like thunder, Abigail wrapped them both in her coat. For a moment, the world felt still. No guns, no storm, no hate. Just 2 women from opposite worlds bound by the most fragile miracle of all. But peace in the West never lasts. The sound of distant hoofbeats shattered the silence again. Abigail's eyes widened. "They're back," she whispered. She grabbed her rifle, heart hammering. Nayeli's eyes filled with tears, but not of fear, of recognition. She whispered a word that made Abigail's blood run cold. "Chief." Abigail's grip on the rifle tightened. "Chief, as in your husband?" Nayeli nodded weakly. "Oh, Lord," Abigail muttered under her breath. Outside, the shadows of riders moved through the rain. The Comanche chief dismounted, his tall frame silhouetted by lightning, his warriors fanned out, weapons drawn, scanning the rocks. He called out, Nayeli's name carried across the canyon. Abigail crouched low, rifle ready. "If they find us, we're both dead," she whispered. But Nayeli reached up, touching her arm gently. "No shoot," she said softly. "He my husband." Abigail hesitated. For the first time in her life, she didn't know what to do with the gun in her hand. The chief stepped closer, eyes fierce and searching. Abigail stood, rifle raised but voice steady. "She's alive," she called out through the rain. "She needed help. I gave it." The warriors froze. The chief's gaze locked on her, unblinking. Then his eyes shifted, to the woman cradling a newborn child beneath the ledge. His expression changed instantly, from rage to shock, then to something softer. He dropped his weapon and moved forward, calling her name again, this time like a prayer. He fell to his knees beside Nayeli, his hands trembling as he touched her face, his voice cracking as he spoke to her in their language. Abigail lowered her rifle slowly. The chief turned to her, his eyes burning, not with hatred, but with something deeper, gratitude, respect. "You save her," he said in broken English. "And my son." Abigail nodded once, her breath shaky. "Did what was right." The chief's jaw tightened. He reached into a leather pouch and pulled out a small pendant, made of bone and turquoise. He held it out to her. "For you, spirit of wolf, brave heart." Abigail hesitated, then took it. "Guess that makes us even." The chief smiled faintly, nodding. "West remember kindness," he said. "Maybe one day I repay." He lifted his wife and child onto his horse and turned back once, before riding off into the mist. The storm had passed. The sky was breaking open with the first light of dawn. Abigail stood there for a long while, watching them disappear. Her body ached, her shoulder bled, and her soul felt strangely full. She looked at the pendant in her palm, small, simple, yet heavy with meaning. She climbed onto Whiskey's back, patted his neck, and whispered, "Well, boy, maybe not all stories out here end in blood." As the sun rose over the canyon, its golden light cutting through the fog, Abigail rode home, her heart lighter than it had been in years. Somewhere out there a new life had begun, and maybe, just maybe, the Wild West had learned a little mercy. And if this story touched your heart, if it made you feel the courage, the mercy and the spirit of the untamed West, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Wild West Hearts, for more emotional, untold stories of love, sacrifice, and redemption from the frontier days. Because out here in the West, every act of kindness becomes a legend. Subscribe now and be part of the next story.